Hello and welcome to BBC News. Well, Britain has accused the Kremlin of planning to install a pro-Russian leader in Ukraine as fears of an invasion grow. The Foreign Office in London says a former Ukrainian MP is being considered as a potential candidate, along with 4 other politicians who it says have links to the Russian intelligence services. So let's take a look. Russia has 100,000 troops on Ukraine's border, but denies it intends to invade. James Waterhouse reports now from the Ukrainian capital, Kiev.
The Friendship of Nations Arch, built by the Soviets to celebrate the closeness between Russians and Ukrainians. That crack was painted on by activists a few years ago as relations between the two countries deteriorated. And as talks intensify about a possible invasion, the hope is things don't break down completely. Tensions are still rising on the border. Today, Russian jets made their way to joint military drills with neighbouring Belarus. Ukrainian ministers have welcomed a delivery of US military equipment and now a call for the UK to step up its own support. The British government has delivered 2,000 anti-tank missiles this week and says it's open to sending more weapons as President Putin continues to up the pressure.
He's actually boxed himself into a corner because so much effort has been put into this, but he also recognised that he will never again be as strong as this to take advantage of the West's weakness. I suspect an invasion is now imminent.
So does Kiev feel like a city preparing for an invasion? Evelyn and Lillian are too small to appreciate the power struggles surrounding their country, but their parents Serhiy and Valeria obviously aren't.
It's definitely concerning. It definitely seems more tense than the past times that we were concerned about this. I'd say it's definitely increasing, like anxiety and stuff, for sure.
I don't feel good that I cannot come back to my hometown easily because I always have to think whether I will be able to do it safely or not. And of course I'm afraid.
If I see others do it, I'm ready to defend my country. I'm not going to run away, but then again, there might not be anywhere to run away to.
Moscow denies that it's planning an invasion, but it's easy to forget Ukraine's already endured 8 years of Russian aggression. It's brought fighting, cyber attacks, misinformation and constant uncertainty. Next week, the US will continue to discuss Russia's demands that NATO will both scale back its military presence and rule out ever letting Ukraine join. For the country at the heart of it, that uncertainty goes on. James Waterhouse, BBC News in Kiev.
Well, let's stay with this story and get a little bit more on it, particularly those claims by the British Foreign Office that the Kremlin is looking to install a pro-Russian leader in Kiev. With me is our reporter, Mark Lobel. Mark, good to have you with us. So, who said what on this particular claim?
Yeah, well, Nuala, as you say, the big question hanging over all of this is what is President Putin thinking? And the British Foreign Office have provided an answer. They're suggesting that President Putin is considering installing a pro-Moscow leader in Kiev after a potential invasion. Of course, we know that Russia and Ukraine are both building up for a potential military conflict. And also, they're saying that Ukrainian politicians inside Ukraine are helping Russian intelligence with their efforts at the moment. And they've done that, the British Foreign Office, by declassifying information to back up those claims. If we have a look at what Liz Truss, the British Foreign Secretary, has said, she's said the information being released today shines a light on the extent of Russian activity designed to subvert Ukraine, and it is an insight into Kremlin thinking. So what does the information show? Well, the British claim that the former Ukrainian MP, Yevhen Murayev, is being lined up as a potential leader of Ukraine if they're to invade and win that military conflict, of course. Now, this man ran for president in 2019. He set up his own party. Admittedly, it doesn't have any seats in the Ukrainian parliament. He has actually denied the claims in a text message to the Britain's Telegraph newspaper, saying it's stupidity and nonsense, pointing out that he's under Russian sanctions himself. He's been barred from Russia, and also that his father had his assets frozen in Russia. He said it's hard to comment on the Foreign Office's statement. But Russia has also said that this was misinformation from the Foreign Office and also accuses them of escalating tensions. But I guess the important point is it's another part of the narrative here from the UK, and one of the people that Britain had said is helping Russian intelligence, one of the former Ukrainian politicians, was also sanctioned by America on Thursday for similar accusations. So both America and the UK adding to the arming of the Ukrainians with this kind of narrative that they're building up about President Putin's intentions.
Really interesting. Yesterday, of course, we were talking about that meeting in Geneva between the American Secretary of State and also his Russian counterpart, Sergei Lavrov. So there's like diplomacy, but then a lot of harsh words as well. What can we look at if we begin to think about the week ahead?
Well, that diplomacy, which didn't get very far last week, continues in the coming week. We're certainly going to see a visit from Britain's Defence Secretary to Moscow to meet his counterpart there, the first such meeting in 9 years. And also, America has this written answer that it's promised the Russians, responding to their very far-reaching demands, for example, trying to get Ukraine to pledge never to join NATO. So all these things are coming together, but there's a lot of friction between the two sides, and I think this is certainly going to ramp it up.
Thanks so much, Mark, explaining that for us. Very good to have you here with us in studio.